Hey, how's it going everybody? My name's Nolan, and thanks for stopping by this video. I'm going live, and in this video you're going to learn, alright, check this out, you're going to learn 3 ways to solo in Gypsy Jazz. 3 ways that you can create solos to improvise over any song in Gypsy Jazz or jazz, and it's something which I use. It's kind of a method I use to actually create solos, and I think it really can help you too. So if you're looking for ways to kind of learn how to improvise in this music and create solos, then stick around. This is going to be really cool. If you don't know me, my name's Nolan, and I'm a Gypsy Jazz guitarist and educator and inspirer, and I love to help people and take the confusion out of Gypsy Jazz and teach them how to have fun playing this awesome music, Django Reinhardt music, Gypsy Jazz. And thanks for the love. And it's always cool when you're watching this, to type in where you're watching from. And I'm in Amsterdam right now. I'm back in Amsterdam. Last week I was in Santa Monica, and this weekend I'm in Amsterdam. So type in where you're watching from, and that's always really cool. That really inspires me here to keep me going. And each week we have people from all around the world, which is just incredible and really inspiring. So what's going to happen in this lesson is I'm teaching pillar number 2. What the hell's that? Well, I've got 5 pillars of how to learn Gypsy Jazz guitar. And last week we looked at pillar number 1, which was all about the rhythm, the most important thing. And this week we're looking at pillar number 2, which is soloing. So how the hell do you create those cool solos over all those tunes? How do you do that? So that's what we're going to look at this week. And this way of teaching, the 5 pillars of learning Gypsy Jazz guitar, is a way which I teach, which has great success one-on-one. So when I'm teaching in a retreat, then this is the way I teach. So, and you'll see the link in the description of this video which says Gypsy Jazz World Passport, and click that if you want to come to Amsterdam and have the time of your life. I'll tell you about that more in a second, but first I'll get right to the lesson. Welcome everybody. Great that so many people are joining. And okay, 3 ways to solo in Gypsy Jazz. So what we've got to do when we solo is outline the chord changes, okay? So I'm going to take just 2 chords, the first 2 chords from All of Me, which is C, 2 bars of C, 2 bars of E7, okay? That's all we're going to look at. So 2 bars of C, 2 bars of E7, okay? Thanks for the love, guys. Okay, so when we solo over chord changes, when we improvise, and we're not really improvising, we're kind of playing stuff that we know works and that we've played before, and we're kind of rearranging it in a different order. But these 3 things I'm going to teach you now can really help you, give you confidence, so when you're playing a solo, you're not going to be stuck. So number 1 is obviously know the chord changes and be able to play the basic a basic lick over each chord. So basically number 1 is licks, okay? So knowing as many cool licks and phrases which work over the different chord types. So major licks over major chords, dominant 7th licks which work over dominant 7th chords, and minor licks which work over minor chords. And if you've got this stash of licks, then you can apply them to the chords when you're improvising. So if we're looking at All of Me, so you've got 2 bars of C, 2 bars of E7, okay? I'm just going to stick to those 2 chords in this lesson, okay? And it's really important to outline those 2 chords. So I'm going to pick 1 lick for C major, and I'm going to pick this lick, okay? It's really a simple, a goodie, and it goes like this. So, okay, so, sorry. So really simple, and that's going to be my major lick, okay? So every time I play C, I'm going to play that lick. So, okay, when I get to the E7, I'm going to play this lick, just 1 lick I've chosen. It's going to go. Okay. Okay, so for C, I'm going to go E7. Okay, so they're just 2 licks I've picked for each of those chords. And when I string them together, that kind of starts to sound like a solo. So, playing over C, 2 bars, E7, 2 bars. So if we play those licks, okay, so they're the licks. That, by the way, learn those licks, they're pretty cool. So we got, so just using the 2 fingers, it's kind of easier. B, C, a 7th fret to 8th fret on the bottom string. Then 7, 8, 7, 10. Okay, that's the beginning of the lick in C major, okay? Really simple, charming lick. So, and then you repeat that. And that's 9 to 10 on the D string. Then that's 9 on the G string. 8 on the B string. Up to the 12th on the B string, then down. So the lick in slow motion goes like this. Okay, really simple. Okay, and that's the lick that we're using for the major chord, for C major. When we get to the E7, we're going to do this lick, which is a nice one for E7. Okay, so can you see that? So we're going to start there, 14th fret on the G string, to the 12th fret on the G string, 13th, that's the first 3 notes. 12th fret on the B string, 15th fret on the B string, then 12th fret on the top E string, 13th, 15th to 13th. That lick in slow motion, right? This is for over E7. Okay, really simple. Okay, and that's the lick we're using for E7. So we string those 2 together and it sounds like. So that's using licks over the first 2 chords in All of Me. Everybody's joining. Welcome. My name's Nolan. My mission is to take the confusion out of Gypsy Jazz, which is a difficult music to learn, but a lot of fun to play. So I'm trying to make it simple for everyone and show them some easy ways to solo. And in this video, you're going to learn 3 ways that you can use to create solos over any song in Gypsy Jazz. And I'm using the first 2 chords out of All of Me, which is C. So it goes C, 2 bars, then E7, E7, 2 bars. And the first way we're going to learn, there's 3. The first way is using licks. So things which you've already, licks you know that work. And welcome Harry, welcome everybody. Everybody come type in where you're watching from. I'm in Amsterdam, and this is such a cool community we're building here. And it's my mission to help you with Gypsy Jazz. And by the way, there's a link in the description of this video. And if you want to have the trip of a lifetime, come to Amsterdam, then you can come and join the Gypsy Jazz Breakthrough Retreat, which is happening next January 24 to 28, okay? There's a link in the description. Click that, you'll get the whole scoop. And it's going to be incredible. There's already a lot of people signed up, couples, people from everywhere, Denmark, people from England, people from the States. It's going to be amazing. There's room for 20 guys, okay? 20 guys or 20 girls, and it's going to be awesome. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Right now I'm teaching how to solo in Gypsy Jazz, okay? How to solo. And this is pillar 2 out of my Learning Gypsy Jazz Guitar 5 pillars. Pillar number 1, all about the rhythm. Pillar number 2, all about soloing. This is the first bit of soloing using licks. So you need to know licks for major chords, for dominant 7th chords, and for minor chords, basically. So the major lick we learned was, okay, really easy. Then when it goes to E7, good morning Brian, welcome. We're gonna go this lick. Okay, And that's just one of, I've just chosen those licks. There's many, many licks which I can show you, but in this instance, I'm just demonstrating how the brain works. So when we're soloing, we might pick, oh yeah, I'm going to play that lick in C. It's going to go, oh yeah, that one. You've played these licks before, you know they work. So that's over C and E7, just the first two chords in All of Me. So that's number one. Good morning, everybody. People joining from all around the world. Type in where you're watching from and click that love heart button. Click the love heart button. Send the love. That keeps me inspired here. I'm in the kitchen, back in the kitchen in Amsterdam, and I'm teaching you 3 ways to solo in Gypsy Jazz. So the first way was using licks, okay? So you want to build up as many licks as you can for major, dominant 7th, and minor. And then your brain picks them when you're playing soloing over a tune, all right? So I'm just breaking it down really simply. Another way you need to know is to know the harmony. So this is number 2. So you can play arpeggios and scales. And people love to talk about scales and arpeggios, and I generally don't. I don't really think in scales and arpeggios, but I teach this method when I do it, when I do the retreats, okay? So this is the second method of soloing. So, okay, this is pretty simple. Over C major, guess what? Guess what scale works? A C major scale. So we can play. Okay, that's C major, and of course, that major scale works over C major. So when it's going over C, so we can solo using that scale. The problem with that often is that it sounds like a scale, so people kind of tend to solo. Okay, so that doesn't sound that inspired, but it is correct. Okay, correct, whatever that means. It fits in C major, but you can be more creative with the scale. So learn the scale, and then maybe you'd go. That's basically me thinking of the C major scale. So that's method number 2. When you get to E7, then you've got to have a scale for E7. So what the hell is that? This is just one scale you could use over E7. It's kind of easy to think about because you can use the A minor harmonic scale, okay, which is this scale. Okay, that's A minor. A minor, but that works over E7. So it gives that sound over the E7, but you're basically thinking of an A minor harmonic scale. Okay, so All of Me. Okay, this is what we're going to practice soloing over. Two bars of welcome, everybody. Great to see so many people. E7. Send the love. So we're going to play over those 2 chords, okay? First way is using licks. Here we go, licks. Okay, that's using licks. The second way is scales. So see what I mean? So I'm thinking of the scales there. So there's 3 ways. In this video, you can learn 3 ways to solo. The first is using licks. Second is using scales and arpeggios. In this instance, I showed you how to play a C major scale over a C chord. Wow, what a genius. But that's stating the obvious. Then when we get to E7, we use the A minor, which kind of, you know, it's got that sound for the E7. Okay, so we can improvise using scales and arpeggios. That's the second way. The third way, which for me is the more inspiring and interesting way, is using your ear. All right, so not thinking about scales, not thinking about arpeggios, not thinking about licks, none of that stuff, but actually just following your heart and your ear and going with the flow, you know. And you love this music, you listen to it enough, you know what sounds good. So I love to teach this way, and I've got a lot of ways to teach that, but in this video I'm going to show you one way, which is called bouncing. Okay, so what you do is you pick 2 notes out of each chord. So again, we've got to pick 2 notes out of C. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pick G, and E, okay? 5th fret D string, 5th fret B string, okay? We're gonna start there, and we're gonna use our ear to develop those ideas, okay? So, over C. And when we go to E7, we're gonna just move the notes around to fit the chord, and in this case, we're gonna go. See, that fits the E7 chord, and then we're gonna do that in a musical way, of course, and we're gonna kind of go like. So this basically sidesteps shredding, sidesteps scales and arpeggios, sidesteps licks, and it kind of makes your ear do the work, which is usually the best thing, you know, because you can trust that. And we're just starting off with 2 notes from each chord. This is a method I call bouncing, because we bounce between 2 notes of each chord. And this is step number 3 of improvising, soloing in Gypsy Jazz, okay? So we're gonna pick over C. Welcome everybody, great to see so many people from all around the world, amazing. I'm in Amsterdam in the kitchen. Welcome Guy, good to see you brother. I'm gonna answer questions at the end, so if you've got any questions, type them in, okay? And when I've finished playing guitar, I'll answer them. And after the video as well, if you're watching in the future, also send the love and type in where you're watching from. I'm gonna get in and answer everybody's question at the end. First way of soloing, using licks. We gotta have a C major lick, and we gotta have an E7 lick. We're playing over all of me, okay? So C major, E7, okay? So they're the licks we chose. And that's going over C major to E7. The second way was using scales and arpeggios, and even though that's not my favorite kind of way to think, it helps people understand what's happening. And you know that C major scale, C major scale, C major scale, over the E7, A minor harmonic scale, for instance, works. So C major scale, over the E7, you know what I mean? So you can think C major for the C bit, and A minor harmonic for the E7, and that's number 2, okay? So we got licks, number 1, scales and arpeggios, number 2. Number 3, using your ear, following your intuition and your heart. And we're gonna pick 2 notes out of each chord. So C major, we got G and E, 2 good notes for C, and we're gonna follow our ear to develop that. So if we're gonna play in all of me, we're gonna go. And you can start to develop ideas using your ear and your flow and your intuition to guide you through the changes, okay? So that's the really exciting way of teaching. And just to recap, this is the way I teach soloing at my retreats. And we're really excited because we've just announced the Amsterdam Breakthrough Retreat, which is happening. If you want the time of your life, come to my hometown, Amsterdam, then click the link in the description of this video, because it's called the Gypsy Jazz World Passport. Who wouldn't want a Gypsy Jazz World Passport? And you're going to come to Amsterdam, you're going to learn at the Gypsy Jazz Breakthrough Retreat with like-minded guitarists, and you're going to have jam sessions and fun. Plus, welcome Teddy in the house. There's people from all over the world. And I'm teaching you 3 ways to solo, okay? Really breaking it down really simply. Okay, number 1, licks. Take a lick for C major. Really simple, okay? Then your brain goes, okay, now I've got to play E7. If you're going to think of licks, then we're going to use this lick. Okay? So that was the first way. So in all of me, it would sound. So then the next way was using scales and arpeggios, is however boring that sounds, and it does sounds very boring to me, but I do also teach that stuff a little bit. C major. What scale do we use over C major? C major scale, okay? And the idea is to be more creative with it, so try not to sound like... Try and be a little bit... You know, you try and be a bit... Superlocrian, that's the best one of all. Superlocrian just goes... That's the Superlocrian. So the second way was using scales. C major works over C, be creative with it. E7, use A minor harmonic. And then you can solo in a scaly way. That sounds horrible, scaly way. And that's going to help you kind of feel confidence when you're soloing. So you got licks, you got scales, and that really helps. And then the third way, like I say, is using your ear, using your intuition, using your flow. You love this music, you know what sounds good, it's trust in your ear. And then we're using this one technique I use called bouncing, and taking 2 notes out of each chord and then developing those notes as the chords change. So in All of Me, C, C, E7, E7, we'll go like... something like that. So then the idea is at the end, after you've got all of these things, licks, you know the scales and arpeggios, you know the harmony, you've been practicing your flow in your ear and your bouncing, then you can start to solo, combining all those methods, right? So then it starts to, if I just use the first 2 chords of All of Me, then it starts to sound a bit like you're improvising. So start to kind of feel confidence because you know the scales and arpeggios, you know the harmony, you know a couple of cool licks you can use, and you're also confident with flow and following your ear and intuition. I think that's what I'm trying to break it down as simple as possible in this video. And that's what I do when I teach live as well, is kind of just take all the kind of bullshit out of it and all the stuff which is impossible as well, because there's a lot of really difficult stuff, and I kind of avoid that and try and get to the core of helping whatever standard you're at technically to be able to actually build a cool solo. And that's what we want to do when we're at the jam. We actually want to just play a solo within our means, and we're not being like drunk Al Di Meola. We're trying to actually just make music, okay? So if you know a couple of licks over each chord type, if you know the scales that work and the harmony, and if you follow your ear and work on your flow, then you're going to start to build meaningful solos, and that's what it's all about. So this is a really quick video just to give you those 3 tips, all right? Sometimes you need to kind of take a step back, and that's the reason why I've only used the first 2 chords in All of Me, because you hear players and they kind of get lost over the chord changes, and it's good to take a step back and think, well, can I really play over C, and when it goes to E7, I've got to really be able to spell out those changes and not just waffle over the whole thing. So you want to do that over all the pieces you know, okay? So 3 tips there, just to recap. All right, got it? Recap. Number 1, licks. So know a major lick, know a minor lick, and know a dominant 7th lick. Number 2, scales and arpeggios. Number 3, using flow, using your ear, and using your intuition. Can you demonstrate the bouncing method in another? That's a good question. So Mark is asking to this method I call bouncing. So if I'm taking bouncing through like another tune, maybe minor swing, all right? So minor swing chord changes are A minor, D minor. Do you like that rhythm? E7. Okay, so if I was using bouncing through that, I would play something like this, like... It's minor swing. So I'm picking 2 notes per chord and going through the changes to whatever I'm playing over. That was minor swing. I hope that helps. The guy who just asked that question, that's something I call bouncing, which sidesteps, okay, sidesteps massive scales, licks, arpeggios. You can just play within your means. So if you can't shred, just pick 2 notes per chord and play through the changes like that and get groovy. Don't be afraid to get groovy, guys. So if I'm going through all of me using bouncing, I would go something like this. You know what I mean? And pick two notes per chord. So I think it's a really good tip. And when you come to my retreats, that's the way I teach. I've got lots of techniques to sidestep all that usual shredding and hard work, which it is, and confusing theory, superlocrian, all that stuff. Let's forget about that. Let's just use our ears and our hearts to kind of intuitively make music within your own means, okay? Make it groovy. So in this video, you've been learning 3 ways to solo over any Gypsy Jazz song. Number 1, licks. Number 2, know your scales and arpeggio over each chord. Number 3, the art of flow, using your ear. In this instance, I taught you bouncing, that technique, okay? Let me tell you about Amsterdam. In the Amsterdam, there's a lot to tell you about that. But in the description of this video, you'll see a link which says Gypsy Jazz World Passport. And who the hell wouldn't want a Gypsy Jazz World Passport? It's going to be 4 days and 4 nights of Gypsy Jazz heaven on earth here in Amsterdam. At Captain Zeppo's, we're going to be doing 5 workshops, all right, teaching the 5 pillars of learning Gypsy Jazz guitar with a group of guys and girls who just want to jam and have fun playing this music. And it's going to be an amazing time in Amsterdam. Plus, somebody's just walked in the room. Plus, we're going to be also going to be taking part in the Django Amsterdam Festival, and you get VIP treatment, okay? As a retreat goer, you get VIP treatment to watch the Rosenberg Trio, to watch Christian Van Hamer, to watch lots of guys, my trio with Anton Goudsmit, to watch Wow Wow Adler. This is going to be, who? Wow Wow Adler. This is going to be the most inspiring time of your life. So if you really fancy something special, click the link, see what it's all about. People are already joining. We've got couples coming from the States, from Denmark, from England. It's going to be really special, and it's something which it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, thanks for watching this video. Share it with a friend or share it with an enemy, maybe he doesn't want to see it. And don't forget to, any questions you've got, just write them in. Even if you're in the future, write it in. I'm going to dive in, answer everybody's questions after I've done this. So it's going to be all cool. And just to recap, I've been showing you 3 ways to solo in Gypsy Jazz, okay? And you've got to simplify everything. Don't get too caught up with it all. Learn a couple of licks, learn a couple of scales, and learn the art of flow and trusting your ear. Okay, and that's what I'm teaching. That's my whole thing. I'm trying to take the confusion out of Gypsy Jazz, the music we love. And also, play it in your own way. Don't think you've got to play like Stockel or Bagliarelli or even like me. Play like someone, play like you, because that's how you're going to be playing the best, all right? And that's the inspiration I want to give you. So thanks for watching. Click the link, go and check it out, okay? Gypsy Jazz World Passport. Any questions, just hit reply, write a comment, and send the love. And thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. We're going to be teaching pillar number 3, which is the Gig Ready Boot Camp. How about that? So lots of love from Amsterdam. Stay inspired. This is the bit where I try to click the finish button, I get it all wrong, and I'm still here. Lots of love. Love you all.